Hey, I appreciate you watching Mondays with Mike. It's a cold, cold January morning here. I don't know where you are, but I hope you're staying warm. 2 Peter chapter 1 tells us that God has given us everything we need to live out our calling successfully. And he actually says, it's based on my glory and excellence. It's based on the promises that flow out of my glory and excellence that I've given you. The great promises that you can cling to and become partakers of the divine nature that he put in us at the moment of salvation, so that we can escape from the corruption that is in this world, that it's because of our evil desires, sinful desires. And for this very reason, he says, make every effort, be diligent to supplement your faith with virtue, virtue with knowledge, knowledge with self-control, self-control with steadfastness, steadfastness with godliness, godliness with brotherly affection, and then brotherly affection with love, the agape love that God has for us. He wants us to have towards him and towards others. If these qualities are yours and are increasing, they keep you from being ineffective and unfruitful. I don't want to be ineffective and unfruitful. I know you don't either. And so do I not just have these qualities that are characteristics of being like Christ, but are they increasing? Am I increasingly becoming more and more like Jesus? More so than I was last year or 10 years ago or 30 years ago? How long have you been a Christian? Are these qualities of yours increasing? If they are, then most likely you're effective and fruitful. If they're not increasing, then according to the Word of God, you're being ineffective and unfruitful. And you're nearsighted and you've forgotten where you've come from. Don't forget. He concludes with saying, be all the more diligent to make your calling and election sure. And if you practice these things, you'll never fall. As a Christian, you don't have to fall because you're diligent to practice your calling and your election. I know it's election season, and we should pay attention to those things. As a Christian in America, we should steward our citizenship and participate in those things. But the only election that really matters, elections come and go. I've been around long enough to see several. Elections come and go, like political elections, but the only election that really matters is yours. God, if you're a believer, you are part of the elect and you've been called. And he says, be diligent to make your calling and election sure so that you don't fall. So this week, slow down and go, Lord, are these qualities mine, and are they increasing? And am I effective and fruitful because of it? Because I don't want to show up at the Bema seat finding out that for a time I was ineffective and unfruitful because I wasn't diligent to make my calling and election sure. Hey, look, I appreciate you watching Mondays with Mike. I'll see you next week. And never, ever forget, you're greatly loved.